Mayor Barton, do you think the federal government on its own has the ability to simply spend or regulate its way out of the child care crisis that we're discussing today?
That's a good question to ask somebody in local government, I guess, but I appreciate the question. And no, I don't think so. I think it takes all of us coming together. And, you know, from the local rural perspective, right, and I'm in a rural community, I think there's an understanding that the current system is broken, and we talk about that a lot. We talk about, you know, the business model is broken, but also on the funding side. And I won't pretend to know what funding is available or isn't available on the federal side, but I will tell you that, you know, the current system, the CDBG funding with its focus on vouchers, that's fantastic if you have seats. And in the rural communities, you can have a voucher. There are vouchers out there, but there are no seats, right? So we have to really focus on the side of this, which helps us incentivize the business model to get the seats so that they exist, so that people can even use the vouchers that are out there. So, you know, it's not possible to spend our way out of this, but it's going to take a combination of federal spending and federal focus along with states, local governments, and businesses ultimately. And I think that's the unique aspect of our model, was engaging the businesses in this discussion, because, you know, a reality in a rural community, they are competing for workforce, and everything they can do to make themselves more competitive with the business down the road, they need to be doing. And we saw that with, you know, near-site wellness clinics on the health side, and that has now spilled over to the child care side as well.
Well, thank you for your answer. The fact is, contrary to the beliefs of those on the other side of the aisle, simply spending more federal tax dollars or increasing federal regulations won't solve this issue. And as a representative of a largely rural district myself, I've also seen firsthand the outsized effects that accessible childcare can have on rural communities. And quite frankly, that was one reason I was greatly encouraged by your testimony, Mayor, detailing the actions that you and other community leaders took in Montgomery County, Indiana, to establish a coalition to tackle the problem. So I want to give you a chance, for in the few minutes we have left, as legislators, what can we do in our capacity to help communities like yours meet today's child care challenges at the local level?
I think the most important thing is to create an environment where we can innovate. Every community is different, and giving us the flexibility to come up with new solutions like we've done. You know, sadly, we've at times said we're going to solve this problem on our own, because we just realize that the help's not coming from above, right? And so giving communities the ability to do that, and that flexibility, is probably the single most important thing you can do. Then becoming a partner and looking at the model we've created. The model we've created can be applied, you know, more globally across the nation if we so choose to do, but you have to create the environment that allows that, and that doesn't exist in a lot of areas.
And on that same note, I'll ask from your perspective, conversely, what is Washington doing that could hinder the growth in the child care space?
Another good question. You know, I don't know that I can really answer what they're doing that's hindering it, other than, you know, when you create situations where that wage pressure keeps people out of this workforce, you know, childcare is going to be the first place we're going to see that, right? And so we have to find ways to fill in those gaps and address that piece of it. I think the other piece, you know, from the federal side is, you know, the more of these solutions that are driven through state governments, and I'm speaking totally from the local level here, the more of those solutions that are driven through state governments, the more levels of confusion that it, you know, develops. So anything you can do to streamline that process, and again, give those local governments the flexibility and communities the chance to innovate and come up with different solutions would be great.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Sims, real quickly, in the few seconds I have left, in your testimony, you mentioned the varying child care preferences parents could have for their kids, including faith-based providers. In your view, what role can faith-based providers play in increasing access to child care services?
I think primarily it's to continue to participate in the program, and also I think there's much more we can do to advertise to the faith community that, and CCDBG is a very unique program. You can participate in the program and not have to check your faith at the door. And that is a crucial piece of what makes CCDBG such a unique program, is that they can fully participate, but often we have put roadblocks up for faith providers, and they need to understand that this is a completely inclusive program for them.
And I appreciate that, because in the past, the proposals on the other side have tried to force faith-based institutions to choose between operating according to their sincere held beliefs or maintaining access to federal funds. And I think you make an excellent point. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.